Nation Live. It's your boy Sanders Tisdale.
And I'm James Owen.
Guys, stay tuned. We've got a good day to talk Steelers football. The Steelers coming out huge on a 20-10 win over the New Orleans Saints. Also, we want to talk about rumors swirling around in the internet. Ben Roethlisberger as an offensive coordinator?
Yeah, and Frank Wright.
Yeah.
His name was thrown in there as well.
Yeah, and also, we want to talk about the quarterback, Kenny Pickett. Is he evolving? Is he degressing, progressing? Which one it is? You know what? There's a lot to talk about. And also, we got to talk about the Steelers' vaunted running game. Did I say vaunted? Or maybe that was old school stuff, right?
Yeah, sounds good to me.
Guys, we'll be back after this on Steeler Nation Live.
Audio Jungle.
Hey guys, welcome back. Steeler Nation Live. Your boy Sanders Tisdale.
James Owen.
Lots to talk about here. Steelers had a huge win. And I call it huge because you know what? For the last 3 to 4 weeks, we had nothing but despair, nothing but complaints, nothing but, you know what? I'm tired of watching the Steelers on TV. They're making me sick to my stomach watching them. So you know what, James? Let's get everybody's thoughts out there right now. And we're also expecting our guest, Jeff Reed, to call into the show in a couple minutes. So we're going to get that in the way. But you know what, Jeff? What's going on with the Pittsburgh Steelers, and what do you think about the play so far this year?
Well, we talk about this every week, Sanders, and folks at home, you know, prove me wrong. Call 585-210-3917. And we always talk about the history of the Pittsburgh Steelers. What are the Pittsburgh Steelers about? It's ground and pound. It's that running game. And we always have a plethora of wide receivers who can get the job done. So it's really an arsenal at the quarterback. But how are you to get the ball to the wide receivers if you don't establish a running game? And you know what? It's the Saints. I got you. But they had one more win than we did. And you have to beat these teams who play as poorly as you do. Usually we either play up to our opponents or we play down to them. And we played basically a good, solid, a great solid game offensively. And when you establish that running game, that opens up everything. And we have a caller on the line right now.
Yeah, let's grab it. This is early on. We're gonna grab the call. Let's see if he made it through.
Oh,
all right. I guess we got to pass on the first call of the show.
All right. Well, caller, call back in. We lost your call. This is what happens when we get everybody calling in at once. It's great for us, but bad for you. Whoever comes in there, and you know, they're a lucky caller. 585-210-3917. Let's try this one again.
Yeah, let's see if we got him on here. Here we go. Welcome to Steeler Nation Live. Who do we got on the line? Kenzo. Wow, welcome to Steeler Nation Live. Kenzo, hey, what's going on?
What's going on, gentlemen?
Hey, you know what? For everybody out there listening, this is Kenzo. He's calling in. He's checking in on the Steelers. And you know why he's checking on the Steelers? Because he's a Cowboy fan. And you guys really so let's get this out of the way early. Now, the Cowboys, they struggled this week, losing a big game over there. Cowboys lost to the
Green Bay Packers.
It's not Cowboy Nation Live. This is not Cowboy Nation.
They didn't struggle. They didn't struggle. They played a pretty solid game. It's just unfortunately for the Dallas Cowboys that the Green Bay Packers, they played a little better.
It was the fourth quarter. We should have won that. No excuses. Dak is slack. He slacked up in the fourth quarter, and I'm calling it like it is. I love Dak, but I don't know. He's starting to show me who he truly is on some things.
See, I like that. At least that's a guy that does admit that. You know, does admit that when he has some shortcomings there on the team. But let me ask you real quick, brother, because I know we got Jeff calling in about another couple minutes. What is your thought on Kenny Pickett? I mean, you and I discussed some things offline, and you said there's some things that you do see about Kenny Pickett.
Yeah, I think he's I think more experience on his belt in the pro realm. He's going to be that dude. He's got an arm. He's got heart. and even if he didn't have the talent, which he does have, because of that heart factor, he comes in with attitude, man, to win. He's a winner. I really believe that about him.
I think
Pittsburgh's gonna have some great years with him.
I could somewhat compare him to his tenacity and willing to win as a Josh Allen. When Josh Allen first came to the Buffalo Bills, I see that same tenacity, that they're not scared to run the ball, they're not scared to take a hit. But unfortunately, you can't build your career off of that, because it'll be a very short career. But yes, like you said, and we talked about heart last time on the show, that's what this team is kind of lacking. And it could have went really south fast if the Pittsburgh Steelers didn't come up with a win against the New Orleans Saints. But yes, he's got to be consistent, though. He's got to have consistent play calling, consistent coaching, consistent leadership. And like any quarterback out there, if you don't have that, you're going to fail.
Yeah. But this is his first year, so you got to give him some benefit of the doubt. He got to get used to the system, and I think he's got some great years for you guys. I think he's going to do some wonderful things for you guys.
Yeah,
I really think
he has a couple errant passes, but what quarterback? You show me any quarterback in this league who throws 100% perfectly, or he doesn't throw interceptions, or he doesn't have bad plays, or it's going to happen, and we don't know. Yeah, we don't know what's going on in the quarterback or the receiver's mind. We all we see is what's on the play. Did the receiver run the wrong route? Did the quarterback throw it the wrong side? Was there pressure? Did he have to get the ball out quicker? Did he have time? It's all like delayed. You know what I mean? So these route running things are timed too. So there's a lot of stuff going in on there, and a big thing, your relationship with your receivers. You know what I'm saying? That holds true. Huge.
But I think he's definitely going to pick it up. I really do believe that about him, being my namesake and everything. So he's got no choice but to do it.
Hey, Kenzel, before we let you go, what do you think about the Buffalo Bill Viking game really quick?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that was one of the best games in years.
Is it because Buffalo lost?
No, it's just what it really was is that I saw this player that reminded me so much of myself, how I used to play Justin Jefferson. Oh. You see?
Oh yeah. You know what? We have seen some highlight reels on you, and yes, you did have some game. Yeah. I never could see what I was doing when I was playing, but now that I get that effect to see other people that play like me. Right.
It's just remarkable. It's truly remarkable.
I see it. I see it.
Hey.
Yeah, we played them. We played them Saturday. My son is here, and he's a Viking fan, so we're gonna see how that turns out.
Wow.
Saturday,
Where do you find a Viking fan?
Hey,
it's almost like finding a Lions fan.
Let me get it.
Well, my other son is a Lion fan.
Okay? Yeah, that's true. Hey, kid, let me get a score from you. Before we get out of here, let me get a score from you from the Vikings Cowboy game, so I can write that down.
Oh Lord.
Oh yeah, we're gonna beat them probably about 24-21.
24-21.
24-20.
So what did you have for dinner, Kenzo? Was it a liquid dinner?
I know, right? I know.
All right.
I know.
I got you, brother. I got you down 24-21. Cowboys over the Vikings. So, like I said, when you next week, I want you to call into the show because we want to make sure to solidify what you just said.
It's good.
I will do that either way, even if it's the other way.
All right, my brother.
You gentlemen, keep being amazing. Love the show, man. Keep doing your thing.
Hey,
love it.
All right.
Love you, bro.
I still want that video and an 8x10 glossy.
Hey guys, like I said, that's what it's all about. We got Cowboy fans that call in and talk trash. I love it. We welcome it from every aspect, everywhere. But like he was saying, the thing with Kenny Pickett, I mean, this is a Cowboy fan talking about him. He does see some intangibles that Kenny Pickett has, but a lot of other people out there are saying that Kenny Pickett, you gotta give him time.
You gotta give him time. I mean, you really can't compare Pickett with anybody else but Pickett.
Right.
And Ben Roethlisberger was Ben Roethlisberger. You take him when he came in his rookie game and the Steelers ended that season 15-1. That's miraculous. You don't see that happening all the time in the NFL, especially with the Pittsburgh Steelers, who had winning records. But this is a younger guy, different setup in offense. He brings different intangibles behind the center. This kid he's fast, he's running. I mean, he's got a great arm, he's got a great attitude, he's got tenacity, he's got a lot of heart. And when you bring that to the table, you're going to have success more than not. And this is if he has a bad game, which he's probably going to, unfortunately, this is how you learn. You don't learn how to play football by doing everything right, and which never happens. That's how you learn from mistakes. That's what a lesson is. You make a mistake and you learn from it, how you did it before and how not to try and do it, what the things to look for. And also a nice, good offensive coordinator wouldn't hurt either, Sanders.
Yeah, I mean, that goes a lot to playing into. And you know what? We discussed some stuff at the beginning of the show about offensive coordinators for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And is it true? A lot of people are wondering out there. A lot of people are shaking their heads of saying, you know what, should Ben Roethlisberger be the offensive coordinator for the Pittsburgh Steelers? And the thing about it is, it's a huge thought process because Ben, when he was there, Ben was running the offense. Ben was the offense. And I don't know if a lot of you guys out there have watched Ben. He has a podcast out there as well, and it's called Footballing with Ben Roethlisberger. And on the show, he sat there and he said, you know what? He was asked, do you want to come back to the NFL? Oh, speaking of that, you know what? We got our call coming in, so we're going to handle that real quick. We'll get back to Ben Roethlisberger. Hey, welcome to Steeler Nation Live. Who do we got on the line?
The man, Jeff Reed.
What's up, man?
Hey, Jeff.
What's going on?
Hey, folks at home, Jeff Reed, 2-time Super Bowl champ and a true loving friend, brethren of Steeler Nation Live here in Rochester, New York. And Jeff, I don't know if you can see, we got you some video up there on the screen with you. And we tell you this all the time, brother. We appreciate you so much coming on the show, giving us your expertise on the subject of, you know, what goes on in the locker room, what goes on the field, off the field, and whatnot. And the big topic right now is Chris Boswell. You know, he's hurt. Everybody knows he's hurt. We're on our second kicker right now. Nick Skiba, however you pronounce it, didn't really pan out. And then we got this new kid, Bright, coming in from Kansas City. He was on our practice squad, and then Kansas City picked him up. He came in. He's got the leg. But what's going on, Jeff? You're a kicker. You tell us.
Well, I mean, the toughest thing that most people don't realize is they assume that just because they sign somebody that they're never going to miss, regardless of. I'm not talking about the weather and stuff like that. I'm just talking about. I mean, when you haven't worked with a snapper and a holder, it's just because the NFL, that doesn't mean that it's really easy to adjust. I'm not blaming anybody because I did watch the game, but obviously I watched it on TV. I was in the Pittsburgh area, but I had a paid appearance, so I was not at the game. And you know, unless I look at the video and see, you know, the spot, the hold, the snap, everything else, you know, I can't really dig deep into what happened. But I did see Coach Tomlin said, despite what everyone's saying, we are keeping right to kick this week. And he said it was a group effort and all of us have to get better. So that being said, and Coach is not, he'll call you out like more to person. He'll defend you in the media, but the biggest thing I can see is there was something with the snap hold kick. I'm not saying that the kicker, you know, didn't screw up a little bit, but there must have been something there with the hold or something we didn't see, that he is going to go to bat for this guy. Obviously, he's kicked for the Steelers before for a game or two, and Boswell was hurt before, I believe. He also kicked in Kansas City. He also kicked in Jacksonville before that, I believe. So, I mean, he's a little guy, but he's pretty powerful. I mean, he made a 50-something yarder, 59-yarder for Kansas City in one of their games. You know, I'm not going to say he's the best kicker in the NFL by any means, but what most people don't realize is it's like when you change a holder, which is usually your punter or a snapper, it takes a while, it takes a lot of repetitions to get comfortable. When you come off the street, even though he's obviously been in shape and playing this year, he's been dealing with 3 or 4 different holders and snappers. So I'm not giving him a pass because, obviously he's a professional kicker, but at the same time, it's not as easy as everybody thinks it is.
Now, let me ask you this, Jeff. Is it not a situation or not an issue to be discussed right now because the Steelers won? It wasn't like because he missed those 2 field goals that it wasn't detrimental to either a win or a loss. I think would this be a different topic? Would we be talking about getting out of the kicker if it was relied upon his foot to win this game and we lost because of it?
Obviously, that changes things. Obviously, this could have put the game completely away. You make those 2 kicks, but 49 yards is not easy anyway. Or 48 and 39, or 49-38, whatever it was. I know that if you're supposed to make those, but basically a 50-yard field goal. So you don't make those in your sleep. Just because most of the guys can kick the ball 65, 70 yards today, the majority of them are not accurate. Not all of them. I'm not saying that, Tuckers and Boswells and guys like that are obviously very accurate, but in this league, there's about 10 great kickers, and the rest of them, play musical chairs. They're not bad, but they're not like when I played, not because I'm cool or anything like that, but when I played, there were probably 25 great kickers. And if you were anywhere close to under 80%, your ass would be looking for a job elsewhere. And that's just, it's just a change of the guard. So I think it would obviously be a different discussion if, they were down 2 points and he misses a 38-yard field goal.
Right.
Yes. But at the same time, it goes back to the same thing. Maybe he was extra nervous, or maybe he slipped, or maybe the hold was terrible, or, I'm not blaming anyone because once again, I didn't see it, but there is an operation. There's a time it's under 1.3 seconds. So you don't make sure you don't get them blocked. And, one of his kicks, I don't remember which one it was. I think it was the longer one, was really ugly. So something really went wrong there. Right. But once again, you can't just tell from a replay on TV. So it would have to be. Go ahead.
I think you hit on right on the head, the nail on the head there, Jeff, when you talk about timing and working with different holders and snappers, because I did see, a couple of his kicks, the timing didn't seem like was there. Like he was pausing where he stuttered. And I think one kick that he made through was actually blocked, but it actually made it through the uprights. So timing is everything. And plus you're playing in Heinz Field, Acrisure Stadium, with all the terrible towels. And hey, guess what? You're kicking today. We're playing a must-win game. And so you need to get in there. Right. So there is a lot of pressure that people don't understand. It's not just walking on the field, hike, snap, hold, kick. It's not that easy. It's not. It's more mental than physical.
Yeah, kicking is the most mental position on that field. Obviously, you have quarterbacks, but they get a lot more opportunities than kickers. If they make a mistake, they, throw an interception or 2. If you throw 3 or 4 touchdowns, nobody cares. If you miss a couple field goals and your team loses by 6, even if you miss them in the first quarter, it's the kicker's fault. That's what you embrace as a kicker.
Yeah, it's 90.
And that's the pressure. Yeah, I played it for 10 years. I played in the pros. I was a kicker longer than that. Obviously, I played through college and 1 year of high school. But, every kick, you're a little nervous. And if you say you're not, you're just not a human being. You don't have a beating heart. So there is no, you're cool, calm under pressure, man. You always came through. Well, that's great. That's your goal. And I thrived in situations that were very, very stressful. But every kick, you're a little bit nervous. And everybody misses a huge kick. And they usually make more than they miss. So, it's the operation. And you're talking to me who did it. And I always tell these kids I coach, all these people that critique you, none of them, unless they've actually kicked in a game a field goal, not just joking around. They made an extra point one time with their friends on Thanksgiving. If they've kicked in a game, then they get it. Otherwise, they don't get it. So if you get booed, it stinks. It sucks. It's a terrible feeling. But those people that boo you can't do your job.
Correct.
So that's the biggest thing I always tell these kickers. And I mean, because most kickers I coach are in high school, and they get stressed out if they miss a kick, and I'm like, you're supposed to enjoy these times, because if you do go to a stadium of 60 to 100,000 people in college, wait till you feel that pressure. And then if you go get a paycheck in the NFL, wait till you feel that pressure. So they don't quite get it. So I try to tell them it's okay if you miss one. You know, I mean, your goal is to be 100%. Who doesn't want to be perfect? But we're also human beings. So I think with your assessment, it's tough to watch, because you're like, I mean, even I was in Sharpsville at a Pennsylvania at a appearance, and everyone's chanting my name, like, call the Steelers, man. You need to get back in next week. You know, that'd be great.
Hey, we were saying the same thing up here, brother.
Yeah. I wish it worked like that. Unfortunately, it does not. But,
Right.
You know, and everybody misses, and you just hope this week he bounces back. And if and when he does, then he'll be fine for the next few weeks.
Yeah.
Hey.
People understand it's 90% mental. The other half is physical. So once you get that, mindset, you should be good. But
but Jeff, we also want to touch base with you on the fact of now that we talked about the kicking aspect of the game, we want to touch base on what did you think about the overall aspect of the Steelers in this game versus the Saints, and most of all, what was your outlook on Kenny Pickett? Is it progression, or is it a downslide? What is your thoughts?
It was good to see them, because on paper they're not a bad team. I know that everyone in Pittsburgh is used to. I mean, I was there 10 years, and I think we had 2 losing seasons and a couple, but most of those, I'd say 6, we made the playoffs and won a couple Super Bowls. So that's the expectation when you were put on the black and gold. So that's why it's so tough. I mean, I'm not saying it's tougher playing there than anywhere else. It's just some teams, as for instance, not a knock on the hometown team where I live in Charlotte, but they're fair weather fans. If the team starts losing, half the stadium's full. That's just the way it is. Everybody goes to Steelers games no matter what, and you're held to a certain expectation when you put on that uniform. So they won the game. That's most important. I mean, ugly. There was good, bad, and ugly everywhere, and but it's. I was talking to a buddy, and the NFL is so unpredictable right now. I mean, nobody would have seen the Bills blowing a 17-point lead at home.
Right.
Nobody would have seen Kansas City making Tennessee Titans look like the best team to ever play in the NFL. I mean, but it's the NFL. So you have high expectations for certain teams and certain organizations and certain franchises, but if you don't show up or you don't play your A game, you're probably not going to win. Especially, it's very evident this year. So, I mean, I know everybody's giving Kenny Pickett a hard time, but I do think he'll be fine. You have to understand, and I think he started a handful of games. So, I'm not if even 5. I don't even know, but obviously not 5 because I think Mitch started 4. But he is a rookie. Like Ben came in and balled out. But you also have to understand we had a tremendous run game and a tremendous defense.
Exactly.
Back in those days. So he had way less pressure than Kenny Pickett does. They're expected to score points. When they don't, it's a struggle. Obviously, with TJ Watt back, the guys rally around him because he's a baller. But, other than that, I mean, on paper, the Steelers are not a bad team. They just they need to find a way to get each other's backs instead of point fingers. And, and the biggest thing about there, and it happened to me too, is once you start listening to the media, you're not going to succeed. And I'm a journalist. Obviously, we're on a radio show right now.
Right.
Or a podcast, whatever you want to look at it. So, I mean, I know what everyone's looking for, but if you listen to the super negative people when you're driving down the road or when they're in the locker room and say, well, so-and-so said this about you, if you let that get to you, you will not succeed.
I get you.
If you just answer the questions and play football because you're the one in that uniform and you're the one that's earned that spot, you'll be fine. It's not always going to be pretty, but you know what? I mean, you're going to be way better off if you just do what you know how to do and continue to get better.
I like
So
that, Jeff.
my
That's
assessment,
well said.
yeah, my assessment of Kenny is he's doing fine. I mean, he's going to make more mistakes, but he's also going to make some miraculous plays that is going to pump the crowd up and pump the players up. So he's a fiery guy. So I think he'll be okay.
But Jeff, let me take you back a few years, back to 2006. Remember that season? We also started out 2-6, and we had that bye week, and we came off the bye week. And who do we play? We played New Orleans Saints at home, and we won that game as well.
Yep.
So I don't know. I mean, are we setting ourselves up for a repeat appearance? I mean, what do you think? Looking at the schedule ahead, we got the Bengals at home next week. We got the Colts coming up, and we got the Panthers coming up sometime soon. Do you see in the future, look at, like you said, we all do, any given Sunday, anybody can beat anybody. It depends on who shows up. But do you see us repeating that 2006 season and coming out possibly even one game over 500?
It's very possible. I mean, once again, you don't look too far down to the biggest problem these teams have, and I mean, it's probably in college as well, but more so in the NFL, is you start nothing against the Commanders because they played their tails off last night, but Philly was probably looking forward to their Dallas game and Giants twice and all that stuff. So they got pretty much handled last night at home and as an undefeated team, best team in the NFL. And you can't do that. You can't do that at this level. I mean, the Lions will beat you. The Packers beat the Cowboys. Stuff that you don't think is going to happen, it happens. So it's to a situation where, I know exactly what you're talking about because I was in those meeting rooms and Coach Cowher pretty much said, obviously I'm not motivating you guys, so I'm going to have your captain speak. And literally on game day before we played the Saints, I'm not going to repeat anything because there's some words in there I probably shouldn't use. But, I mean, you had Joey Porter, you had Alan Faneca, you had Sean Morey, who was our special teams captain. You had Roethlisberger. But everybody said their piece. But there was some calling out. And it was like, listen, if you say that you're this kind of teammate, then do it. But be it. Don't just say it and act like we're just going to believe you because we see that you're not. I mean, it was. And this is game day. I was like, oh, hell, we're either going to get destroyed or we're going to win. Yeah.
Nice.
It wasn't going to be a barn burner. Yeah. So, but I mean, that did happen then. And we went on a little run, but if you look at their upcoming schedule, obviously the Bengals are a division opponent. So yeah, I mean, that's going to be rough either way. And they beat them week 1. So they want their revenge. But did you have the next few weeks, like you said, you got the Colts, you have the Falcons, you have the Panthers.
Right.
I don't know who else is in there, but maybe that's it. But, those are beatable teams for sure. But then again, if you don't show up, you will not beat any of them because they all get paid. So could there be a run? Absolutely. But the one thing you have to do is really focus on this week. I mean, because if you beat the Bengals, there's a whole new confidence in that locker room and in that facility. If you lose to the Bengals, you're getting more and more behind in the division, and you obviously have to win your next few games, of course, anyway. But totally different when you play a division opponent and you beat them. You realize that you've been at the top of that division for years. I know the Ravens have been up there, the Bengals here and there, pretty much never for the Browns, but you got Deshaun Watson coming back. I mean, you got a lot of factors coming in. You got Deshaun Watson coming back in a couple of weeks. Burrow is Burrow. You had to play Lamar Jackson twice. I mean, it's going to be a tough run no matter how you look at it. And I mean, you play Baker Mayfield in Charlotte if he's still healthy. So there's no hand-me's in this league. And the Steelers, whether they're good or struggling, have a target on their backs. They always have, always will, because either you're a huge fan and you love them, or you absolutely think they're disgusting and hate them. There is no in between with that team. So that's, I mean, is it possible for there to be a run? Absolutely, man. There's no doubt. And it started with the Saints and Andy Dalton, who was with the Bengals for years. So I think it's great. It's just they have to stay healthy and they have to get better. You can't just show up and just think, oh, we have a home game, we're going to beat them. That's not how it works in this league.
Right.
But Jeff, like I said, brother, that, you know, I love it that you come in. Like I said, this guy comes in.
Coming in hot.
He comes in and he's very knowledgeable. And that's the thing I like about Jeff. And he tells it like it is.
Expertise.
But Jeff, give us a score for this game versus the Bengals. Now, mind you, Jeff, this was supposed to be a Sunday night game that got flexed. I don't know if they don't think the Steelers are important anymore. Black and gold forever, baby. But the thing about it is they flexed it to a Sunday at 4:25.
Whatever.
So Jeff, what is your thoughts on the Steelers versus the Bengals in Pittsburgh?
That is a knock on the Steelers. That's not a knock on the Bengals.
Right.
I will tell you that.
Yep.
That's basically just saying this was going to be for probably number one in the division currently, and since they've struggled so bad and got blown out a few times, why would we want them on primetime? And that really is what it is. It's not a knock on Burrow and the Bengals. I can say that right now. So, considering they just almost won the Super Bowl, so it's not them. So they should take offense to that. They should play their asses off. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. Jamar Chase is out, I believe, for a while, so that's going to hurt the Bengals. But then you got Boyd, who played at Pitt, that always destroys the Steelers for some reason. Then you got Hilton. I don't know if these guys are healthy, but you got Hilton, who played for the Steelers, that always shows out against the Steelers. So there'll be some tempers flaring. I'm looking at like a 17-13, like 13-10 kind of game. So
Joe Mixon,
Joe Mixon's
been hot. So we got to contain
him too. But I mean, the good thing is, you know, Watt stayed healthy at least for a week, and he brings a lot of energy to that team.
Stayed healthy for a week.
Yeah. I mean, when I know he can't. I know he's not getting hurt on purpose, but when he's not in the game, it's a totally different feel. Just watching it. So
yeah,
he's a whole different breed. The whole family is really. So you know, it's I think I would say, I don't know, probably let's go with 17-13. I'll go with the Steelers.
Okay.
And maybe they'll keep the little run going. Hopefully they don't let me down.
Hey, you heard it here on Steelers Nation Live.
Because I'm guessing they're going to be underdogs. I haven't paid attention to any of that.
Of course, who cares?
Hey guys,
that's even better. Yeah.
Yep.
You're listening to Steelers Nation Live. Your boy Jeff Reed stopping by in the studio. Jeff, as always, brother, it's an appreciative to have you on, brother, and the time you take to give us your insight on the game, brother, especially from the insider. And much love to you, brother, and we appreciate you. And thanks again for stopping by.
Yeah, man, absolutely. You know, anytime I'm available, man, I got you guys.
All right, you're the best, Jeff. Well, I'll talk to you later offline.
Take care.
You got it.
Hey guys, that's what it's all about. This guy, like I said, he calls in. This guy, like I said, Super Bowl champion 2 times, not 1, 2. They got 4 fingers up. 2-time champion. He calls into the studio, gives us his insight, and as you can see, he was a kicker. But as you see the insight from this guy coming in, very knowledgeable. I respect what he says, and he does. Well, he looks at the game from a different thought process. Because, like you said, James, when the kicker missed the field goals, I was like, you know what, cut him. Get rid of him. You know what? I think Monday he should be working and getting ready to pack his bags and go back where he started. But the thing about it is, like Jeff said, you do have to give that. You do got to give him another shot. We have no choice, really. So put him out there. See what happens for us. Put him out there. See what happens. Guys miss kicks, but then you know what? I've seen the guy for the Ravens miss kicks. I can't believe
Tucker.
Yeah, Justin Tucker. I can't believe his name just escaped me. But one of the best kickers out there. I've seen him miss kicks. I've seen him miss close kicks.
Yeah. So, did you see pregame warm-up? I guess he kicked a 70-yard field goal.
Yeah, I did see
it. But yeah, there's no pressure off a tee, and it looked like it could have won 80, 90 yards. But all right, Sanders, let's talk about this big win here at home against New Orleans Saints. Now, everything was working.
Yep.
Kind of. But when I mean kind of, it got the job done. Now, so far this year, uncharacteristically, the Steelers controlled the game, controlled the clock. I believe I wrote down here somewhere, time possession was almost 39 minutes. The Pittsburgh Steelers, the offense ran off 217 yards on the ground. No, it's not a mistake, folks. This is true. You had guys like Kenny Pickett ran 51 yards, 8 attempts. Jalen Warren, 9 carries, 37 yards. Najee Harris, 20 carries, 99 yards.
Yeah.
So, and you also had Pickens do a couple runs in there. He had 23 yards on the ground. He also scored a touchdown on the ground with that jet sweep. crap. In the air, Deontay, 4 catches, 63 yards. He came up huge with a bunch of catches. Muth came up 4 catches, 36 yards. So it was basically, it was a great game all around. They won. That's why I say great. A lot of mistakes, a lot of problems. It just, when you control the game and you keep their offense off the field, you're going to win games. And another thing that I want to talk about, folks, defense came up huge. Now, you talk about the couple games before, we had should have had 4 interceptions.
Yeah.
We had 0. Okay.
Yep.
We had 2 interceptions and 2 sacks. Not by Watt. It was by Highsmith. And why? Because they're double teaming Watt. And he still got in the backfield. And thanks to that, Highsmith stepped up and did what he had to do. He had a couple sacks. And like I said, Sanders, when you make those plays, turnovers, time of possession, you run the ball. When you run the ball, you set up the rest of your offense, because they were biting hard on that play action when we did it. Didn't do it too often. We should have done it more. But then again, we talked to like Jeff Reed about everybody's talking about the kicker. He still has a job. Tomlin says he's going to have a job, but the tune could have changed if those missed kicks had anything to do with the game as far as winning the game. Thank God it didn't have to do that. We win 20-10. And also another thing, Sanders, before it escapes my mind, is that penalties. We had 3 penalties the whole game. The Saints had, I think, 10 or 11 penalties. A couple of them were pass interference. Great calls. But you know what? In the back of my mind, we all remember last year's game against the Saints and those phantom pass interference calls that they called on us, and could have been makeup calls. I don't know. They were kind of ticky-tacky with the pass interference. But what I didn't appreciate was that late hit out of bounds on Pickens wasn't called. He had 2 plays, helmet to helmet, direct helmet to helmet. Najee Harris had to come out for a little while, possible concussion protocol.
Yeah.
And these are like helmet to helmet hits. It wasn't like no call, but you get a little ticky-tacky pass interference. I don't understand it.
Yeah, I mean, but like he said, you got to play through it. I mean, and we did play through it. The scary thing was that because of the missed kicks, it made it closer than what that game actually was. And thank God that Pickett, he's slowly starting to mature, but he's doing it in a slow pace. But like I talked about earlier, and I'm going to touch base and go back to that as well. Before the call came in from Jeffrey, because we had to grab that call. But like I said earlier, Ben Roethlisberger, one of the guys out there who can help mold a young quarterback, a young, talent in Pittsburgh. Ben is the guy who's out there, thousands of yards, miles of yards. This is the guy who set records all over Pittsburgh, 500-yard games, you name it. And as you can see there, Ben on his show, Footballing with Ben Roethlisberger, he said, a lot of people were asking online, should Ben be an offensive coordinator for the Pittsburgh Steelers? I touched base on that earlier, and a lot of thoughts out there is, you know what? Ben said he doesn't want it. He said he doesn't want that job. He said because right now in his life, he needs the comfort of relaxation and doing ABCD. But for him to get this job, he says people don't realize it, that how tough it is to be an offensive coordinator. Now, I kind of was miffed by that, because I know he didn't get along with some of his offensive coordinators, but he did admit that it's a tough job, because he says, and I agree with Ben Roethlisberger. He said that it's not just that play or that next play that you're scheming. He said you're scheming 4 to 5 plays down the road, because you want to be ready just in case if this happens or if that happens. Now, I mean, don't get it wrong. Matt Canada is taking a bombardment of criticism, and it should be put on his shoulders. But is it just him? I don't know. I don't know if it's the answer of just letting Matt Canada go, or should we, wait it out and figure out what we're going to do by the end of the season, because sometimes we see Kenny has some possibilities and sometimes we don't.
Well, Ben Roethlisberger would be a somewhat of perfect fit. I'm opposed to hiring within. He's out anymore. But something like that, a position like that where he's been there, he knows what the deal is. And like you said, he's got to call 4 plays, 5 plays down the road. But check this out, folks. That's based upon what happens with the original play. and it's got to go off of that. And you call 2 plays, and those plays got to go off of those 2 plays, because if you run this and it doesn't work, then maybe you can't do the following play because of you got sacked or a penalty or something. You're forced to do something long yards. So having Ben come back right now, not really that great of an idea. Can he contribute to this? Absolutely. But there's a guy out there named Frank Reich who would be amazing at offensive coordinator right now. You say, well, if Canada goes, who are you gonna get? He could come in and he has the knowledge. Frank Reich, former Buffalo Bill quarterback, head coach. I mean, he's done it all. He's seen it all. He's the guy who could come in right now and fix this offense. And then maybe down the line, if Mike Tomlin decides, to hang up the whistle, that Frank Reich can slide right in there. And it's not really, that much of a coaching search. But based on that, Ben can come in the future, maybe next year, maybe if Canada still stays the rest of the year, that Ben would be a good option next year. Maybe he'll have enough time rested up. We don't want any Tom Brady, Gisela issues with him and his wife and his kids. You know what I mean? Because, it's his time has come and gone, and maybe his wife doesn't want him to come back in football. Who knows? That's for another day. But when you're talking about coming in, somebody who can actually get the job done, Frank Reich, I know his name's been tossed out there. I don't know if he'd want to come to Pittsburgh, but folks, let's hear what you have to say. 585-210-3917. Your take on, this offensive coordinator stuff. And granted, Pittsburgh did turn it around. We had an offense. We had all facets, defense, well, special teams somewhat with the missed field goals, we and the punting, whatnot. And I like that Sims coming off and kick return. He's given some spark, some life to the special teams where we've been lacking that for so many years. Antonio Brown was pretty much the highlight reel when he was returning kicks back there. So that has been, a problem with the Pittsburgh Steelers too. So with that being said, and looking forward to what the Pittsburgh Steelers, I like how Jeff said, as you look down the schedule, what we have, and, you have your hopes and your aspirations of, picking out the teams where you have a better chance of winning and you might lose, whatever. We have to focus on the next game in hand. And that's what we're going to talk about right now. Next game, you said somebody was flexed to 4:30. We got screwed again, the old right there, pal, and whatever. Underdogs, I don't care. I love it. I love being an underdog because when you get your ass whooped by an underdog, it's better. But let's talk about that game in Cincy. We opened up the season. They were in the Super Bowl. You had high expectations come in there and run that division like they did last year, but it didn't look too good in the first game. It didn't look like we were even going to win that game. It was just like back and forth, like the previous year against the Cleveland Browns, where we ended up tying that first game, and that kind of screwed us going into the playoffs. But Sanders, your take on Cincy? They have some key injuries. However, they do have that established running game, and we've been having problems with stopping the run.
Yeah, that's been one of the issues for the Pittsburgh Steelers. But I will say, with the return of Watt, and Jeff said it earlier. I mean, like I said, this guy, he said he hit the nail on the head. A lot of plays go off of Watt. Watt creates turnovers. He gets in the backfield, and those other guys feed off of that. And I've seen a lot of it. We have some people right on the board, 30-13 Bengals. Woo! Hey, hey, Joey, I got you down. I got you down.
How do I know that was Joe Spano?
30-13 Bengals.
Now, Joe, they don't have Jamar Chase. And even when they did have Jamar Chase, the first game, he really didn't do too much. He was held in check. I know it sounds crazy, but go back to the week 1 and you'll see what we did.
Yeah,
and that's what everybody was,
And you're right. But like I said, with that, the Steelers are right now starting to feed off of things, and they're starting. From what I seen from that Saints game, it looked like the defense was on a better pace. Now, the only loss I seen and the only problem that I had with the Steelers in that Saints game was the fact of the yardage that was given up by Splain.
Yeah.
Splain was out of positions at times. Splain was in position at times, but you don't know what you're going to get with Splain. Sometimes Splain will come in the game and he'll make a phenomenal play like he did on Derrick Henry a couple years ago when Ben was there, stopping this Mack truck at the goal line. And then you get these times where he's just 5 steps behind any tight end or whoever he's covering. He just can't do it. So I don't know what the Steelers are going to remedy that situation with, but you got to think about it. That defense played a lot better, and they were missing a couple key linebackers out of there. I believe so. That was the problem. They were missing linebackers, and the Steelers still did the correct coverages and got things straight. And like I said,
don't forget this, that Fitzpatrick wasn't playing either.
Right,
I mean,
Fitzpatrick was out
because he had appendicitis. He had an appendectomy, and I think it was the night before or whatever. Thank God he's doing well. He's doing okay. And Kazi came in and he played admirably.
That's what I wanted to tell you guys. DeMonte KZ, that dude, I think, and the Steelers for some reason were very, very high on him, and I can see why. The guy has he brings a lot of physicality to that secondary. So now you got Minka out there hitting, Minka out there tackling, and now you got KZ who's crazy.
Yeah. Hey, call like it is. You call like it is.
Yeah. So the Steelers got somebody out there that's physical. The Steelers of the 70s, when they were dominating teams, they had a physical secondary.
Mel Blount, Donnie Shell.
Right. You know what? Is he going to get penalties called on him? Of course he is. When you're physical like that, you're going to get those penalties. But this guy, I like what he showed. And because of his physicality, he was around the ball. He was where he was supposed to be at. And I like it. And any receiver that came in his area, KZ was ready to say, you know what? You're not thinking about catching this ball, right? As you can see what he did already to one of the Saints receivers. So I do like what I see. I think the Steelers will come in, and it all depends, like Jeff said. It goes back to Kenny Pickett. I mean, if he can progress off of this next game and go into this game versus the Bengals, it'll be in Pittsburgh again, in front of your home crowd again. So the energy should be there. And hopefully I see Kenny Pickett possibly progressing off of what he did. I'm not asking you to go out there and throw 5-6 touchdowns. I'm asking you to do not the bonehead things like in the Miami game, which should have been another win for you, to be honest. And you drove us down late, and I like what I seen from you from that game. But it's just the small things you have to work on. So I think the Steelers can get away with possibly winning this game if that defense plays to that level again. And they're amped up because of what they did last time. And the Bengals are going to be amped up because of what happened last time in Cincinnati in front of their home crowd opening day after the Super Bowl. Steelers go out there and wreck it.
Right.
So I believe the Steelers can win this game. I'm giving it a score of 24-17. And the Steelers, as always, like I said, we're used to having teams hang around a lot. So I think the Steelers can win it, 24-17. So that's my thought on that. What do you have for score?
All right, Sanders. So if the Pittsburgh Steelers come into this game with the same mindset that they had against the Saints, we're gonna control the clock, we're gonna make defensive plays, and we're going to do what we have to do. And especially the third down conversions. Why they increase so much? Because we have a quarterback who takes charge, and he's mobile. He's good decision maker. And I don't know about you, but I can't remember the last time we did a fourth down play that we didn't convert. So we're not throwing the ball 30 yards down when it's 3rd and 1 or 3rd and 2. So that changed the concept too. So what the Pittsburgh Steelers need to do to win this game is continue to run the ball. Do not throw out if it doesn't work at first. Stop with this wildcat shit. I mean, once or twice, unless you're going to do something different, like have Najee throw the ball, like we had a couple weeks ago when we threw the touchdown with Claypool threw the touchdown on a jet sweep, something that they don't expect happening. But if you run the same wildcat all the time, give it to Najee or out up the middle or Jalen Warren up the middle, it's not going to do anything. So we got to limit those dumb plays, do the proper play calling, come up with big defensive plays, have a kicker who's going to be a little bit more accurate this week. I do believe the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to win this game. And the score I say is 21-13. Pittsburgh is going to win this game. And the one thing on defense you got to do is contain the tight end and stop Joe Mixon. Jamar Chase is irrelevant. And Jeff Reed said about Tyler Boyd, who, ex-Pitt Panther, who knows the system of the Pittsburgh Steelers coming in, same division. I think he might be, a thorn in our side as well. But I think we'll be able to contain him, stop the running game, And like I said before, we had all the ingredients of making a delicious victory with the no penalties, no turnovers, creating turnovers, establishing a running game, and doing smart plays behind center. And you're going to win more games than not. So Pittsburgh 21-13 over the Cincinnati Bengals.
I like it. Well, guys, there you have it. Like I said, the Steelers are winning huge that we have it. We have some guys on the board. So the Steelers, you know what, they're coming up short. Joe Spano said 30-13, the Bengals. So we got that written down as well. But also, I wanted to keep pace with you guys as well to see if we can keep an eye on what's going on with former Steelers. And one of the former Steelers that we're looking at is Juju Smith. Yep. Juju Smith, he actually sustained a concussion last week from a hit from Jacksonville Andre Cisco, so he didn't do too much. And we also had Claypool, 1 catch for 8 yards, and McLeod had 1 catch for 33 yards, which was a big one late in the game for the San Francisco 49ers, which kind of helped propel them in that game for the win for them as well. But like we said, one thing I did notice on the board, I take that back. Juju had 2 catches for 33 yards. But Juju is an effective receiver helping out with the Kansas City Chiefs. But the thing that I have with Claypool, James, want to talk about that quickly, and you guys out there on the board, you can write in on it as well. I believe Claypool is out there, and I don't know if it's just things I'm seeing in different forms, but I'm hearing that Claypool is saying the Pittsburgh Steelers intentionally tried to sabotage him in his quest of trying to be a good receiver or a great receiver. And what's your thoughts on that? You guys out there, I don't know what your thoughts are on that. And like I said, he got traded to a team which throws the ball even less. I mean, I don't know. So, I mean, does he have a point? I don't know.
Well, it doesn't matter who you are, what position you play. When you leave a team that has the prestige of the Pittsburgh Steelers and you go to, Chicago has a great history. George Halas, Dick Butkus, McMahon, all those guys, right? The Fridge. I mean, it's a storied franchise just as well. But any player who leaves a team is going to be a little salty. I mean, irregardless. And it's not like he'd had a clean slate with the Pittsburgh Steelers. He had his moments. But the timing is everything. And it's unfortunate. You're going to hear some saltiness coming out. What are you going to do? And we got a good pick for him. I mean, some players are a perfect fit for some teams. Now, let's take Juju for a second. Now, with the trading away of Claypool, that opens up a slot receiver. And, Juju was a fan favorite here in Pittsburgh. And his contract is going to be up with the Chiefs at the end of the season. So, folks, what would you say if Juju came back to Pittsburgh? We want your thoughts. Messages on the board. Call us, 585-210-3917. There is a good chance that Juju might come back to Pittsburgh. It's not, unthinkable. His contract is up. We need a slot receiver. We can get him on the low, and we can save a draft pick for somebody who really need to help shore up the offense or get an edge rusher, inside linebacker, maybe even a safety. So, I mean, just think about it, folks. It's just a thought. But, Sanders, before the show ends, I would be remiss if I didn't, or we didn't talk about the 3 games that are very important in the NFL. Number 1, we got to talk about the Eagles losing at home last night.
Yeah.
And like Jeff said, any given Sunday. We got to talk really quick about the Cowboys losing, to the Green Bay Packers. They were up by, 2 touchdowns, and they end up blowing that. But the game of the year that everybody's talking about, the Buffalo Bills and Minnesota Vikings. Before we talk about that, Sanders, I'm still telling you that the Buffalo Bills are still my pick to go to the Super Bowl. They're having their struggles. They're having their problems. But you know what? Have them now. Get everything going. You're not going to ride the wave all the way to the Super Bowl like some fairy tale, okay? You know what? To make an omelet, some eggs need to be broken. So this is the time. If you have a problem, Sanders, this is the time to do it. Collect yourself. And let's not forget, the Buffalo Bills have been going through serious injuries for the past 3 games, and they've been coming up with wins. But when you're up at home in Buffalo, Rich Stadium, Ralph Stadium, New Era Stadium, Chicken Wing Stadium, whatever they call it now, when you're up 17 points at home, you shouldn't lose, even if it's a team like the Minnesota Vikings have been playing outstanding this year. They're under the radar with their record, 6-1, 7-2, whatever it is. It's, it's incredible what the Minnesota Vikings have been doing, even with Kirk Cousins throwing the ball. I think if you're a quarterback, Tiz, with the wide receivers that the Vikings have and the running game they have, it's out of control. But I mean, all they had to do was run one play.
Yeah.
And a lot of people have been coming down hard on McDermott. They want him hung. They want him tarred and feathered. It's an actual quote from some media site that somebody actually wanted him tarred and feathered because of his incompetency with play calling or whatnot. But I mean, when you come up to the line of scrimmage and, it's not Josh Allen's first rodeo, you come up, everybody knows you're going to sneak it. Come on, audible. But I'll give him that one. But Sanders, your take on the game really quick, or we're running out of time.
Yeah, the Bills game, I thought I didn't have a problem with what McDermott did. I mean, if you can't hold on to the ball, and at that time, you've been playing all game, and all of a sudden now you do a Basarchik or whatever his name is from the 70s who fumbled, just
handing
downing the ball.
The ghost.
Yeah, I mean that was ridiculous. And like I said, we got a call coming in right now, so we're going to answer that as well. Hang on, caller. We're going to try to get to you. Let me see.
Stay on the line.
All right. I believe we got you. Who we got on the line?
EMC Reggie Fresh coming to you from Huntsville, Alabama. What's going on on the Tuesday?
I thought he was blocked. I thought we blocked him.
You know Reggie ain't blocked, brother.
Reggie Fresh.
What's up?
Hey, brother. Hey, like I said, Reg, now you guys out there, Steeler Nation, this is one of the bigger fellas from Steeler Nation hitting hard. This is MC Reggie Fresh from the MC Reggie Fresh Morning Show. This guy does a lot of talk on the radio. He does a lot of talk. He gets people out there. And one thing about him, he is one of the biggest fans of the black and yellow. Reg, now you seen the game.
Yes, sir.
You seen the game with the Steelers. Let me, first of all, I want to get your thoughts on Kenny Pickett real quick.
You're on this Kenny Pickett thing.
I got to get it because everybody's got these mixed feelings.
Hey, let me tell you about it, brother. All I know is Rudolph ain't the answer and Trubisky ain't the answer. So that's all everybody needs to know for one thing. Now, that guy's a rookie. He's familiar with the field. It's the same feeling, just a different atmosphere with the different colors.
Right.
So, Pickett is going to be our feature quarterback, man. He's mobile. He's a rookie, though. People got to understand he's a rookie. He's going to make mistakes. But as long as we got a mobile quarterback, man, we in the house. We like Prego. We in there. And check this out.
Okay. Let me write that
down.
Check
this out. All they need to do is design a play for that rookie Pickens over there just for him. Because once that joker starts gelling, and he's going to be unstoppable over there. That's a no-brainer. But these are rookies. People got to understand that. And we can go far with both of them.
Right.
Now, far as our defense, if the defense keep doing what they doing, our Pickett going to be, he can afford to make mistakes, but he's going to move the ball. And that's the key. As long as we can move the ball and get our defense rest, our Pittsburgh going to be something to reckon with. Yo, I'm trying to tell you.
I'm in agreement with you, brother. And like I said, like we said a little earlier, the fact is, I see that defense with Watt being back, and that's a huge return. Watt's coming back, and now with the addition of that physical safety, KZ adds that physicality. I don't know what you think, brother. KZ adds that physicality to that secondary.
KZ brings it to you, yes sir. He kind of reminds me of Ryan Clark a little bit.
Yep.
The way he hits and tackles, he's amped up, man. Yeah, I like that move right there.
Yeah, that's it. We gave up a 5th or 6th round draft pick to get him. Please.
Yeah, right.
Hey, yeah, and he's experienced. So what I like, I'm looking at the schedule now. I think that Pittsburgh should at least win these next 3 games. I predict that they win these next 3 games. Like you said earlier, we're going to be at home again against the Bengals. We done beat them once, but we know it's going to be a different game.
Yep.
But as long as we got the Pittsburgh Steelers playing at home, when we got Renegade on deck, that's only possible.
There you go. So Reggie, to close out the show, give us a score.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you the score. It's going to be I'm gonna say 21-17 Pittsburgh.
All right.
I like that. I like that.
Okay.
I got it down. Reg, MC Reg, 21-17.
So real quick,
Yes,
Reg,
sir.
real
And,
quick before we hang up on
yep.
you, before we cut you off.
Yes, sir.
What's going
All
on
right.
in Reggie Fresh's world right now? What do you want to put out there to the public? How to get a hold of you? How can they listen to you? Go.
All right, then. You can reach me at 850-341-5994. All you Steeler Nation people out there, if you want to get an interview with MC Reggie Fresh, we'll make it happen, and we also can get out to your best player.
That's what it's all about.
And you can also subscribe. Right, and you also can subscribe my page on YouTube, the MC Reggie Fresh Morning Show. Soon as you go on there, you're gonna see all that black and gold.
Nice. That's what we want to hear.
Exactly. Hey, Reg, like I said, brother, you are the man. You the myth, brother. And actually, Reg, you know what? Once the show, I want everybody to know I'm going to try again because I want to try to get Reg back on the show. We did a video side that didn't work that well, but I'm going to eventually try to get him back on. So, Reg, I didn't forget you, brother. I want to let you know we still waiting to get you on.
Not a problem, man. I appreciate y'all letting me on this show, man. And have a nice day, man. And get ready for next week. And we're going to do it Pittsburgh style.
That's it, baby. Yeah. All right, my brother, Reg. Like I said, when you want high-class energy, this is the guy that's going to give it to you here. Yep. MC Reggie Fresh Morning Show. This guy does it. He's interviewed not just Steeler fans, but the Steeler people, but a lot of people out there as well.
What about tell the folks where they can go to find us?
Hey, Mac, that's right. Make sure you check out our website, www.steelernationlive.net. And also, here we go with our music for the end. Yeah.
YouTube. Steeler Nation Live 201. Yes. Look us up on YouTube. All our shows, all our history. Look us up.
I'm telling you. So, guys, till we see you next Tuesday, it's your boy Sanders Tisdale.
James Owen.
Make sure you're there with another Steeler win.
Woo!